I have back in the studio with me, Aria Webster. Aria, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so happy. I really am.
In case any of you forgot, we talked to Aria right at the beginning of Lent-ish. She was getting ready to come into the church at Easter Vigil. And we did a really great interview with her. She told us her story, how she found her way to the Catholic Church, and how excited she was to be confirmed. And about a week ago, she emailed me. She's like, hey, I'm confirmed.
Let's do part 2.
Let's do more. And we had planned on having her come back to tell the rest of the story, really, because usually we talk to people after they've been confirmed. So we kind of got the before and after here. Yeah. We're going to get the after today.
After is going to be good.
Yes. So we're very excited. So glad you're here. So let's just start.
Yeah.
So we talked to you like beginning of Lent-ish. You have about a month to go.
Yeah.
How was the rest of your Lent?
So obviously Lent looked a little bit different.
Yeah.
It was not like it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pick something to give up and like just kind of, we got a really good cheat sheet from Jeff on like how to do Lent basically.
Yeah.
And it was actually really good. But in the beginning, I prayed. I was like, God, reveal to me what you want to reveal to me in this season of Lent.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't ready for what he was about to reveal to me. And so about 2 weeks into Lent, everything's going well. And all of a sudden, I start getting really bad migraines.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't normal. I hop into the doctor. She does a little bit of a blood draw. And turns out that I had dangerously low iron levels. So I was anemic.
Oh, my goodness.
And then they told me that I had a autoimmune disorder called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, where my immune system attacks my thyroid. Oh. And then it causes hypothyroidism.
Super.
So my thyroid doesn't work, and it doesn't give off as much hormone as it's supposed to.
Uh-huh.
And so, we're 3 weeks out from Easter, and I'm like, why?
I don't need this now.
I really don't need this. I'm on this like path to becoming Catholic and everything is looking up. And then you find out about all this medical stuff that I was not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And so my heart broke.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was not what I was ready for. But thank you, Jesus, for revealing that to me because I needed to know.
Yeah.
And so they got me on some medication and, I'm continuing to pray and things are looking a little bit better now.
Good.
But not as much as they hoped. So like I'm in the hospital every couple of weeks getting iron infusions.
Oh gosh.
Because I'm still so anemic. And they're like, you could fall over on your face at any point.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, cool. Not what I needed.
Cool.
So that's what was revealed to me during Lent. Mm-hmm. But, it was hard because I was ready to like, enjoy trying to fast on certain days.
Oh yeah.
And
can't do that.
They were like, you're medically exempt from like everything. Yeah. You need red meat. Mm-hmm. So you're like, no meat on Friday is gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had this feeling, I was like, am I really participating in Lent then?
Right.
And I had to meet with like, I met with Tracy. I called Apollonia when I heard this. And I was like, I feel like I'm not doing this to the best of my ability. And they're like, Aria, like, this is your first time. There are so many more Lents to go.
Yes.
And so I was lucky, to have that and have, a group of people who were behind me, especially when it comes to medical stuff.
Yes, for sure.
My parents, their hearts broke and like, they're not here, to help me out with this. And so I'm like doing this alone. Mm-hmm. And so that was hard. Yeah. But Lent was really interesting to see. We had, no saying Alleluia, and there were different things about Mass. No Gloria. And I was like, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. This is like, I don't want to say a dark time, but it was so interesting to see. Yeah. And then, at the end of Lent, you enter Passiontide, and everything is covered up. And I'm like, oh, this is like really deep. Mm-hmm. And then it's Holy Week. So Lent was different, but I loved it, and it was a great experience, just not my medical stuff.
That wasn't so great.
No.
So, Holy Week, does the Lutheran Church do anything like that?
Yeah,
because I know they do like a Thursday evening for sure.
It's called Maundy Thursday.
Right?
Yep.
So how was it different?
Oh, yeah.
Here.
So Holy Thursday is so much different because we don't do like the institution of the priesthood, and we don't focus on foot washing. The only thing we focus on is communion. Mm-hmm. And so from what I remember, being Lutheran, it was just focused on that communion, and we would do like this big communion, actual bread, new wine.
Wow.
It was actually really interesting. And
yeah.
so this Holy Thursday, I actually had my foot washed by the bishop.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
But I did, and I was a mess of tears. I'm in the front. My mom is sitting. She's holding her phone. She's like, and I'm just weeping. And so it was so amazing to participate in something like that. And so, and then the Eucharistic procession to the altar of repose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
And it actually like hurt a little bit. I was like, okay, I understand what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was some differences. Good Friday looked a lot different.
Yep. I have to tell you, Holy Thursday is my favorite Mass.
Yeah.
Of the whole year, frankly, because of the Eucharistic procession out and the stripping of the altar.
Yep.
When we were kids, my mom would always, we'd go to that Mass.
Yep.
And we'd always stay for that part.
Yeah.
Because not everybody always stays.
Yep.
And I would always encourage you to stay because there's something very powerful about watching that be everything taken off and then just the altar laid bare. And so it's very powerful.
Yep.
And one of my favorite parts. So
we strip we Lutherans, not me, but Lutherans, they do strip the altar as well.
Yeah.
So that's, another similarity that I saw. It was mostly really similar.
Yes.
So it was nice to have that familiarity
in
it, but it was also so interesting.
Different.
Yeah. To see the differences. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So the Friday, that was also different.
Yeah.
Okay. Lutherans do a Friday?
We do.
Okay.
Yep. We do it in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really just like the gospel the readings. And then
that makes sense.
There's a little bit of a sermon and then you just leave.
Sure.
And there is what we did is we wrote down sins and we nailed them to this big giant cross that we had in our church. Mm-hmm. And so I did miss that part.
That's interesting.
But like the similarity to that is it the veneration of the cross?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, me and Apollonia came home, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But we went hand in hand and went up and did the veneration of the cross together. And I was like, that was powerful.
Yeah.
And beautiful. So I enjoyed that as well.
Okay. So you told me before we came on that you had gone to confession before we talked the first time, your first confession. But you went to confession again Saturday morning. Holy Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you're getting ready for a vigil. So kind of tell us about that day. What are you feeling?
Yeah.
What's going through your head? And how was vigil? And
what was happening
that
day?
What was happening?
Well, funny story. I was actually moving that weekend.
Oh, okay.
Like I moved from the west side to the east side.
Okay.
And so my parents, we were, moving the last final things. I was getting ready. And I went to confession and the line was extremely long. And it was actually beautiful to see because I was like, everyone wants to get their confessions out before this amazing Holy Saturday. Easter Vigil, Easter, and I'm like, wow, this is powerful. Mm-hmm. And so I just remember getting the last of it out, and I remember I made that promise to myself that I would do. I wanted to do it the morning of because I wanted clean slate, pure soul, pure heart going into my first receiving of the Eucharist.
Yeah.
And so it was powerful, and I just smiling ear to ear, and I was just so happy. So that was the morning, and then everyone kind of got together at my old apartment just for a little like dinner. I think we did like subs and my family and everybody who was there, my friends, and it was just a good time. So we had a little bit of fellowship beforehand, and then we all got in the car and we're driving to the church. I'm like, it's 7:15, Aunt Jackie. We got to be there by 7:30.
We gotta go.
So yeah, my aunt was my sponsor, and so we're like, we got what is that word? Chauffeured by my cousin to the church. We got dropped off. And so we're in the, bottom or the parish hall.
Lower level.
Of the cathedral. And we were just sitting there and she's like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. I'm a little nervous. It's a little cold outside and I'm in like a short sleeve dress.
Sure.
And I'm like standing out there and I was like, okay, like it's time. And yeah, it was incredible. There's like no words to describe what that night was. Mm-hmm. And I'm just forever thankful that night happened.
Yeah.
And, in that moment, I was just, my sickness, everything of that went away. All of my worries went away. And I was like, okay, it's just me and you now, Jesus.
Yeah.
And like, I'm ready to fully receive you.
Yeah. That's great.
It was a great night.
Now, you had probably never been to a Easter Vigil.
No.
And I heard it was quite long, almost 4 hours.
3 hours and 46 minutes.
Yes. So
it was long.
That's good, but there was a lot of, was there 30 some?
30
that were confirmed?
6 of us were confirmed.
Yeah.
And I think 6 baptisms? 6
Yeah,
baptisms.
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Amen.
So there's a lot going on during that Mass.
Yep.
What was there anything that stood out to you there during the Mass? I mean, obviously you get confirmed. You can certainly please tell us about that moment. But was there anything else that stood out to you?
Yeah. The Litany of the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, a choir girl. So that just melody was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we get to the end of, I think the last saint was like Saint Teresa of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, like, that's it. And then I hear Saint Teresa of Avila, and that's my confirmation saint. I'm like, okay, we're doing all the confirmation saints now. And I was like, I looked at my aunt, and she looked at me, and I was like, we're going to do them all. And she's like, yep.
Yes, we are.
Yep, we are. But it was just so beautiful. And, it was cool to hear everybody's saints. And there was no repeats.
Right.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Why did you pick Teresa of Avila?
Yeah. So, my aunt, she's Maronite Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so her mom, they're from Lebanon. And so the Arabic word for grandma is Sitta. So I always called my aunt's mom my Sitta.
Okay.
And so we're not blood related, but in that culture, family, you don't have to be by blood. We are family.
Sure.
And so my Sitta died in 2007 of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I heard all of these stories about her. And, like, I can vividly remember her at, like, family events. And I was like, I want her to be a part of this,
mm-hmm.
especially since my aunt is my sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I picked St. Teresa.
Okay.
She was actually, I could have picked St. Teresa of Calcutta because they actually called my Sitta Mother Teresa. Oh. And I was like, fitting. But I wanted somebody who really embodied who my Sitta was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was her.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that is, because I know when we talked last, there were a few things that you're still struggling with with Catholicism, which is not unusual at all.
Yeah.
One was Mary, and Purgatory, and the saints.
Yeah.
So you have to pick a saint for your confirmation.
Yep.
Are you feeling better about some of those things?
I feel better about mostly all of them.
Okay.
I've been told a lot to ask Mary for her intercession
mm-hmm.
in just my health.
Yep.
And I've noticed, I'm like, okay, like, we're getting really close. And I like that. And so that was something that didn't become as hard for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, purgatory, I'm starting to understand, isn't a bad thing.
Right.
It's really just a place where we need to be cleansed
mm-hmm.
in order to live that beautiful life in heaven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't a bad place.
No.
This is actually a healing spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And so really everything just clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so thankful for that.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I wasn't really sure
where we were going.
Right. Well, I wasn't sure how you'd feel about that, because sometimes it takes converts a little while.
Yep.
To get through things. And you actually might find as you go that there's still some things that are like, oh gosh, I'm just not really sure about that. And that's totally okay. Those things will come.
Right.
So, how's your family doing with all this? Now I see. Now, did your whole family come?
Just my immediate family.
Okay.
So my parents and my sister came.
Okay.
And so it was actually cool for my sister because, she's going through a confirmation class. Mm-hmm. And so our pastor is telling her all these things about kind of Catholicism mm-hmm. and how we differentiate. And so mm-hmm. she was like, oh, I see the difference in this, 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 and this.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you're getting a learning experience. I love it.
Yeah.
My parents and my sister, they did such a great job. And I was
like,
so they did so good. And I was like actually moved to tears by it because they participated in every way they possibly could for Mass.
That's
like,
so beautiful.
They would go up and get a blessing and, they would stand, for the gospel like we do at home. Mm-hmm. And like the only thing they couldn't do was kneel for the Eucharist, which was totally understandable.
Sure. Yeah.
But just to watch them, be embraced in my now faith was mm-hmm. just beautiful.
Yeah. What a great gift to have that support from them.
Yeah.
You're very lucky that way, because that is not always the case. So that's good.
Yep.
You mentioned the last time we talked to about enjoying the community you were finding.
Yeah.
I have to assume it's been a couple months. You're probably finding more community.
I am.
What's happening there?
What's happening? There's a lot of things. Of course, Apollonia keeps setting me up with like everybody to meet, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I got to meet Emily Leadham from the Lord's Center. Love her.
Yeah.
She is so fun, has amazing energy. Love her. So I got to meet her. Again, a lot of people from Christ the King.
Yeah.
So welcoming. I got to start going to their large group.
Sure. Okay.
When we're recording this, after RCA just ended last night.
Yep.
And so I've gotten to attend large group and go to mass and really get to know some people. So that's been such a gift.
That's
And then,
awesome.
Yeah. Just my roommate now, who I just moved in with, is Catholic.
Oh, nice.
So that was a pleasant surprise, you know, when you move in. And she's like, I'm going to hang this picture of Jesus. And I'm like, are you Catholic? Because that looks like a Catholic thing to do. She's like, I am. And I'm like, beautiful. Let's put that on the wall.
You got some more.
Yeah, we're trying to get one of Mary now. So,
well, just go over to the mustard seed. Have you been?
Yeah.
There's plenty.
We need to go again.
There's plenty there.
Yes. So my community is very much expanding, and I'm so excited to see what's going to take me, who I'm going to meet.
Yeah, because there's actually a pretty good sized Catholic community, I would say, especially in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Seems like that's maybe growing too. See a lot of young people like you really kind of coming together and supporting each other in their faith, which
absolutely
seems new to me, but maybe it's just because I've been in the chancery a little while now. I don't know.
It's been amazing support from everybody.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Is there something you're most looking forward to as a new Catholic?
Just embracing all of it. You know, I am so blessed and just lucky. It's not even luck. It's really just a blessing to just be surrounded by so many great people and so many different opportunities. So one thing I'm really looking forward to is this convention that happens. It's called Seek.
Yes.
And so I'm so excited because like I heard about this last year and I was like, I want to go when I'm actually Catholic.
Yeah.
Actually Catholic. But so I'm looking forward to that. And then every time I just get so giddy about the Eucharist. Whenever I go to mass, I'm like,
that's so great.
So I go to mass like twice a week. Or
good.
Like just as many masses as I can go to.
Go every day if you want.
Exactly. Just to receive the Eucharist.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what a gift.
Yeah.
So,
are you going to anything with the Eucharistic revival?
Not that I know of right now.
Oh, shoot.
I know. I need something I'm looking at. Don't know if it's.
I mean, they have the event up in Bemidji.
Okay, yeah.
Which is June, right, Casey? Early June, I think, if I remember right. Early June or maybe end of May. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
But that event is going on, and they'll, of course, do a pilgrimage down. And then, of course, the actual revival coming up. So that'll be kind of cool.
It's on my radar. So I know about it. I just need to see if it works.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. You do have school.
I do. College student. Yes.
College student has to go first. Okay. What else? Is there anything else like that you want to, I don't know if you, I know you've got more.
I do.
I know you do.
I do. There's just like one little thing that I can leave you with.
That'd be great.
It's like, it was a quote that I heard from somebody who spoke. I don't even remember who it was, but it was like, you are on the winning side. There is nothing or no one to fear. Be Catholic and be proud of it.
Oh, wow.
And I am just like, I live that every day.
That is a really good quote. Casey, do you know what? No, see, he's not familiar with that one either.
I think it was a religious sister who said it. I don't remember who said it, but I was like, I'm going to live that out.
I love it. Yeah. That is something we should, I think, especially in today's world, a lot of times religious people in general, not just Catholics, feel like we have to hide our faith to get along.
Yep.
And I think that is a mistake. I think we should definitely live our faith, but live it in charity and in gentleness but in joy.
Amen.
Too.
Absolutely.
So, Aria, I'm really glad you came back.
Thank you.
I'm really so happy that you came home.
Thank you.
To the church.
That never gets old. It really doesn't.
I know.
The welcome homes never get old.
Do you get a lot of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I see somebody, welcome home. I'm
welcome
like,
home.
Thank you.
I am home.
I'm home. It feels good.
I have forgotten to look for you during TV Mass recording.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to remember to do this. I'm on this weekend. So.
Oh, good.
Do you usually go Saturday night?
I do. I'm going to try because my work schedule is like all over the place right now. And I'm like, oh gosh.
So then, yeah, well, you go whenever you can, whether it's Saturday night or Sunday morning.
I try.
Slip in there at super early times.
Like, oh no. Well, thank you.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Course.
I'm sure we'll maybe catch up with you again at some point.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Of course.
All right. If you haven't found us yet on social media, you can always find us at Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at SF Diocese anytime. That's it for us today. Hope you'll join us again next week for more Catholic Views.